Well, hello everybody and welcome to another video. It's been a little over a month. Kind of waited till some of the holiday stuff was past us before I did another one. It was just too crazy and busy. Plus, I'm sure a lot of people were busy with family and they didn't necessarily watch Flosstube things. Um, Kind of a random reason why I kind of waited a little bit longer. But thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. All the good things. All the things. Yeah, it's been quite the month. Plus. So some of the things that have been happening around here. I told you in the last video about the Christmas bazaar that they had here in town, and I was selling stuff at that. Didn't go as well as I had hoped. It was okay, but it's a small bazaar, and I really don't have any reason to complain about it because it is free. If you want to sell things there, they do not charge for the tables and the space that you're going to be in. So the only thing is, it's just the time that you put into getting all your stuff ready. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time and effort, and kind of wished it had gone a little bit better, but you know, it is what it is. I did talk with the gal who runs it, and I don't know if they're going to try and do it possibly earlier or maybe even have two. I don't know what they're thinking about doing yet. The one they have now, it kind of combines with the Breakfast with Santa that they do on the first level of the building. And that's the main primary function for it, is because they're doing a fundraiser for with that. And so the bazaar just kind of gets tacked onto it. That is like the second weekend in December. So it's already getting a little bit late for that. They don't do a lot of advertising because, for the bazaar part, because of the fundraiser aspect of it, I guess. It's what she was saying, something along those lines. So I think if they had a separate one, they had it earlier, they were advertising more, it could potentially be bigger. And if they don't do a Breakfast with Santa at the same time, I don't know if that would get less people out or not. You could probably use the downstairs that they normally use for that breakfast area as vendor space. So it would be, we'll have to see if they change their minds on how they're going to handle that. Other things that were going on in this last month is that right before Christmas, so the 23rd and the 24th, we got hit with an ice storm. It was bad for Oregon. If you live in the Midwest and the East Coasts where they're used to dealing with snow and ice, you've got all of the treatments for the roads as well as the plows, and Oregon just doesn't have that. So it was a pretty good layer of ice. It was thick enough that my chunky gravel had no traction in it because the gravel wasn't really sticking up past the ice, so it was even slick on the gravel. But I've driven in this kind of stuff, you know, living in the Midwest for a number of years, and so it wasn't a problem for me. I knew you have to go slow. So I was the only one who went into work for both of those days. Yeah, we only were open for about 4 hours the first day, and then we were open the full time we were planning to, which was 9 to 4 on Christmas Eve. And I was there the whole time for that. So yeah, it was quite the ice storm. A lot of people just did not want to drive in it, and that's fine. If they don't know how to drive in it, don't get out in it, because the people who do, you're just going to make a mess for everybody else. So that was fine. Then of course you had Christmas, which our Christmas was kind of, you know, it's a quiet Christmas because we've got our 2 adult kids who don't live with us anymore who come over, and I made toffee for the first time. And I made toffee for my coworkers as little gifts, as well as some of the neighbors. I gave them that. I didn't keep any of it per se, but I did nibble on it when I made it, and it was fabulous. It was so freaking good. So when the kids came over, I thought this would be a fun activity to do with them. So we made toffee when they first got here, because once you make it, you cook it and everything, it has to sit in the refrigerator for an hour. Um, so that gave us time to make it and then kind of do other things, and then they could eat it later. That would be dessert, whatnot. Because they came over in the morning, not super early, but we had like Christmas lunch together, and that was our meal that we had together. So yeah, it was really fun making that with them, and then it was all we did unwrap some presents. We don't do a lot of presents, very few actually. We got some for the kids, but we generally don't get any. My husband and I don't get any for each other. It's just if we want something, we get it because we have very specialized things, and it's kind of hard to list those on any kind of list or site or whatever, because like if I say I want a purse, there's very specific things I want about a purse, and I would rather do it myself. So yeah, we tend to just get our own things when if we see we would like those. Then the day after Christmas, so the 26th, that night, we got a windstorm, and it lasted through the 27th. And it was pretty good. It was pretty strong winds. I never heard exactly how strong they were blowing. I know it because I did work the 27th. We have two glass doors that come together and they lock in the middle. So if the store is going to be open, you have to have that part unlocked, and they're going to swing, as people come in and out. And the wind kept blowing them in, not completely totally open, but kept blowing them a bit into the store, so they would open and close a lot. And then several places where you got downed giant limbs off trees as well as small limbs, trees themselves, because we've had a lot of rain too. So it has, soaked into the ground enough that the trees they didn't have enough support to grab onto in the dirt, and they would get blown over. About 3 blocks from our house, a tree fell over on the corner of a house. So the house is, I think they have really tall ceilings, so the 2 stories plus an attic or something like that. So it was kind of a tallish house. So when it fell over, it was like on the other side of the driveway, so it didn't have to fall very far. It did do damage to the corner of the peak of the roof there, and damaged a chimney. But it wasn't like they had rain pouring into their house. In fact, I drove by today and I didn't see anything covering it. So I don't think they have anything puncturing majorly that's going to let weather come in. But so we had that going on. We did have power flicker at work. We didn't lose power there. We didn't lose power here as far as I know, because I was at work, so I didn't hear about anything. I know some places did lose power. There were some roads closed because of downed trees or potentially too much water on the road, flooding kind of stuff. So we've had quite the eventful month, in other words. It's been kind of crazy. So yeah, fun stuff. Just kind of as a fun aside, I know I didn't even think about this before, but I thought maybe we'll kind of talk about it now, and it'll give you something to watch or listen to if you really want to do some more Christmas stuff still. What is your favorite Christmas movie or movies, if you have several that you really, really like? I really like The Muppet Christmas Carol. That's really cute, and it's a fun way to tell that story. I don't know why, but for some reason, I really like The Holiday. I watch this all the time, even not at Christmas time, but it's around Christmas and New Year's and stuff like that. But I love it. I don't know if it's because of the actors, the writing. I have no idea. Arthur, the old man in it, he is so cute, and he's just, as part of the movie says, the Kate Winslet part says, Arthur, I've been in therapy for years, and in 5 minutes you have solved all of my problems. Because he just says what the problem is. Just get it out there. So it's just a cute movie. It's just I love it. Favorite music that I like to listen to, even though I forget to play it sometimes, is the Charlie Brown music. So the music from the little cartoon movie for the Christmas movie. I love that. I have the CD with that music, and it's just it's fun and peppy. And then it's got some more traditional type of Christmas in it. And it's just, I love it. So those are some ideas if you want to have something else to listen to or watch or whatever. There you go. Okay, so I think we're gonna go ahead and get into some stitching related stuff, and then I maybe have one other thing to talk about. We'll see how long this video ends up being. So we got stitching, yes. I've got 3 things to show you that I have worked on, and one new thing that I've gotten that's going to be a new start here. I'm not entirely sure what day we're starting it. I know there was an intended day to start it, and I think that might have gotten moved. Okay, so I've left everything in my bags, so I'm just going to end up digging stuff out and putting things away as we go. That's just the way it's going to be. First one is this one. So you can see it says Ice Castle, Shannon Christine. A lot of times I think when she has the picture, it's like a computer generated one. It's not an actual stitched piece. So it's a little bit more difficult to tell exactly how it's going to look. But it's so pretty. So let me grab one other thing out of the bag so I'll have that to show you. I think I have to have something behind this or it's gonna be too much shining through. And here it is. Isn't that so pretty? My lighting's throwing shadows as well. So that is what I've gotten done so far. I'll kind of zoom up a little bit so you can kind of see some of this. And I'll point out a few things. So most of this side and a little bit down here is the section that I have done outlining on. So all this stuff up here, and I think that might have been done. Some of it may not, I'm not sure. But all this down here has not. So you can see how much of a difference it makes. I mean, just look at here, at this turret, how this is defined, whereas you can't see it as well right here yet. So really made a difference for this. I'm not always, have to do outlining, but sometimes it just calls for it, and this is one of those. The other things to point out is we have Krynic silver on these turrets up here, as well as this one up here. Let me think what else we've got going on here. These right here and right here. Let me see if there's anything else. I think those are the 2 spots. If you can tell, it's kind of hard. I mean, they kind of have some glitteriness to them. It is Krynic cross-hatching over the stitching for those. So this will have it, I believe. So you can see it's kind of plain right now. And then once you get this on there, it's really going to sparkle it up a lot. The other thing that I finally got done, pardon my needles over here, is this and this one here. That is also a Krynic. I believe, let's see, there's going to be a few more. So I believe this one, and this one will also have these kind of snowflake looking things sticking on top of them. It's kind of hard to tell in this stitch thing, but this is the Krynic that it's used. It's this really pretty blue. So yeah, that's what's being used on that. The other thing that I still need to do is I will have to put some beads. There's a few beads. There's not a lot. Let's see if I can get those out and show you the coloring of those. So I've got a white and a blue, and then this kind of clearish, more of a clear look. I mean, the package is a little bit yellow, but it's more of a clear versus the white, and then this pretty blue, kind of that matches the Krynic. So those will be added as well. So that's, I think I'm going to be finished really soon. This is the piece that I started at StitchCon last year. So yeah, it's definitely going to be done before the next StitchCon comes around, unless I forget about it, because I did put it off on the side for a while and before I picked it back up again. But yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. Okay, let's find the next thing. The butterfly temperature chart. Let's show you where I'm at. I did not take it out of its frame, the Q-snap, yet because I've got just 3 more days left to stitch in my butterfly. And yeah, I could have taken it out so you could see the whole thing, but I think I'll wait until next month when I have it completely finished and potentially a date, like a year and whatever else I might have on there. And if I'm really lucky, I'll have it framed, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. So there are November and December. And I think when I filmed this last month, I didn't even had started November. So that whole thing is new for you to see, as well as this. I just have these little areas down here to stitch still. So yeah, you can see November was getting colder. This is still more of probably in the 50s, and then it gets down more in the 40s for these darker colors. So you can see much darker. The really, really light ones are starting to get back into those cold, because I think we had, what was it? 27 degrees and a 30 degrees was the coldest ones in December. And I know that doesn't sound very cold for some of you, but it's chilly here for sure. So hopefully I will remember to get this out next month and show you the whole thing, what it looks like, and maybe, you know, if everything aligns right, I will get it framed, or at least potentially mounted on some foam board or something. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see. The next piece that I kind of just grabbed and started working on, I was digging through stuff and kind of trying to find something to work on, because I wanted to wait. I had to wait on that castle one, the ice castle, because I was waiting for the Krynic, and I wanted to get those little things done, and I didn't want to do too much because I wanted you to be able to see the differences between the outlining. So I wanted something else to pick back up and work on again, and I just grabbed this because I hadn't worked on it for a while, and I've gotten quite a bit done. Let me see here. I don't know. You're probably going to see through this, but that's okay. So there was some of the, just maybe a tiny bit of grass that I needed to do, but I did a bunch of some sand in here. I don't think all of this, some of that was done, but I did some sand in here, and I think a lot, part of this might have been done before, but all of this stuff up here and around I did in this last bit here. So you can see it's, you know, clouds and sky, and it's got different shades of different blues, grays, whitish colors, things like that. The stuff in the sky, the clouds, is only a half stitch. So it's not, I mean, you can definitely see that. It's only a half stitch there versus full stitching down here. The letters that I've just started doing in here are full crosses, as well as the bird is a full cross. I do need to do just a little bit of outlining in here. There isn't that much. It did call for outlining the bird, but again, I don't think it needs it. I think the bird looks good without it. I think the outlining here will give it a little bit more definition, and I will like that. I think it's going to muddy this too much, and I like kind of the vagueness of the bird. So yeah, and I think I'm going to have plenty of room, because this is the top, and the bottom I got enough of a border. And I think where I stopped here versus what's left, I think I'm still going to only end up coming to here. So I will have enough room for the border on this side. And I don't know if you remember this side, I cut off some of the stitching. So I probably cut about that much of it off and didn't do those rows over here because it was not going to fit on this piece of fabric that came with the kit. So it's coming along. I've got all of that. I was trying to remember as I was stitching, what on earth is over here? Well, or over here, I mean, it's that fence. I forgot about the fence. And of course, all the writing and the sky and stuff. But it's coming along. I'll show you that a little closer so you can see. And of course, you got the boat back there. But yeah, it's coming. It's a nice little piece to, I mean, it's easy fabric because it's I think it's a 14 count. So it's easy to see. It's easy to find the holes. It's, you know, all that stuff. So that's been a really nice piece to be able to just plug away on for sure. Alrighty. And then the new thing that I have gotten get all of the goodies out. And this is going to be a start. So our little group that met together at StitchCon, that we all met for the first time, most of us, I knew one other person at our table, and that person knew one other person, but everybody else was new to each other. So our little stitching group, who we text each other all the time, we do Marco Polo videos all the time, we meet up for Zoom stitching meetings. Everyone, we try to do it about once a month. Kind of depends on what's going on, and if we remember. It's like, oh yeah, it's been a while, maybe we should do one of these. We just did one yesterday, so that was fun. We were only half of us got together. One person forgot, took a little nap and forgot, and slept too long, so she didn't join us, and the other two were sick. One of those has gotten pneumonia. Yuck. And she was sick with it for 8 days, and finally went into the ER, and they found out that it was pneumonia. So I'm hoping and praying that she's getting better. And the other one, just all of a sudden, she had terrible travel plans going on. She was supposed to fly down. She is in Ohio. She was supposed to fly down to Arizona. Her flight got canceled. They've had, lots of storms all across the U.S. She was supposed to fly down to Arizona. Flight got canceled. She rebooked with another airline, got to the airport, and apparently I think that flight got canceled too, so she ended up with her original airline, and they sent her to Dallas, and the flight from Dallas, I don't know if she was going directly to Arizona from there, but if so, that got canceled. They got her to, I think it was San Antonio, so they got her down south in Texas. Wasn't working out. That flight got canceled to Arizona as well. So at that point, she's been in airports, and by the time all was said and done, she was in the airport for 4 days, trying to get connections and figure out the canceled flights and everything. So at that point, she just said, I'm coming back home. So flew to Dallas, and then finally got back to Ohio. And it's no wonder that she's probably not feeling good because of all of that. She could have gotten sick from being around all the people, being in the airport for so long. She could have just worn herself down, and then her immune system is kind of tanked, and end up getting sick from that. Who knows? But she wasn't feeling good, so she wasn't able to join us either. So yeah, hopefully those two ladies are feeling better. Praying and hoping that everything's going well. I think that we are going to do another Zoom stitchy for New Year's Eve. Just because. I don't know how many of the 6 of us are going to do this, but one of them is doing the 12 stitches in 12 hours kind of thing. But I don't know how many are going to do that. And we can just stitch on whatever. I'm not going to do that because I just do not have the energy to figure out 12 different stitches, or even a bunch, Usually an hour goes by so fast when you're stitching, it's like, I don't really want to stop after an hour and pick up the next thing. So I'm not going to do that part, but it'll still be fun to meet with everybody. And one of the gals who was sick said, yeah, I'll probably be joining you. So it'll be fun if that works out for all of us. Yeah, fun. But anyway, 3 of us, I believe, are going to do this new start together. I don't know that the other 3 are going to. We're just not sure. So what we're going to start is this one. This is the day. Kind of get the glare off there so you can see it a little better. That house is going to be, I don't even know what the word for it is. It's not even like all one colored brick throughout the house. It just changes constantly, and it changes more than you think. Because I was looking at the chart on that thing, and I'm just like, holy moly, how many colors are in that thing? Gonna be fun. So I am not using the called for fabric. It's a Barbara's blend. They had 36 count. At my LNS, which is Acorns and Threads, they had, I believe, 40 count in the Barbara's blend. I didn't really want to do 40 count if I don't have to. 36 is really primarily the highest I want to go. I'm more comfortable around 32 though. But they did have the Barber's Blend in the 40, and I don't know that I really cared for the coloring as much. Plus, it was that higher count. So I looked around and, you know, looking at this, and I know pictures are never accurate as to what the color of the fabric is. Plus, you can get variations in the dyeing. But I ended up with, and I know I'm not going to say the name right of this fabric either, because I didn't say it the right way last night either. I ended up with this. So you can see it's still kind of a brown. It's got some modeling in it, and that modeling's kind of a, it's more of a green, maybe like a grayish green. I mean, you can see the bigger splotch right here. So that is the one I'm going to use. And because it's not written super well, Shariki's Tan, this is the fabric that I'm going to use. It's 32 count. So I will be using that. I think it's going to look really nice because I did put the floss on it and see how it looked, and I think it's going to look nice. But it does have a lot of greens in it, in various parts of it. So I think it'll look really nice with this. I think it'll look great. The other two are not using the called for either. I think one person has kind of a darker gray, and then another one is going to be more of a silvery gray, it sounds like. I'm not sure because we didn't see it. And that person wasn't there to talk about it, so it's kind of hard to know for sure what that's going to look like. But it'll be fun seeing all of the different fabrics and seeing how it comes together. I don't believe I'm changing any of the floss colors, so it will be the called for. I haven't heard anybody else is changing the colors, so if we all keep the same colors, it will just be how it looks different on the fabrics, which will be kind of fun to see all of that. So that's my new start that's coming up here. We were, I think, going to start it for New Year's. I mean, I could probably start it New Year's Eve with our stitch group. But the one who's kind of, I think, is more of that silvery gray color, she ordered it and she got a message from them saying because of the snow that they were having in New York, that it was getting delayed being shipped out. So we don't know when she's going to get it. So there was talk of maybe waiting a week. So in our Zoom stitch, I'll have it available if I end up starting it. Otherwise, it will be, we'll see. I just don't know for sure when we're going to do that. So those are all my stitching whips, as well as the new start or the new purchase. I don't think I've gotten anything else for purchases. But yeah, that's what I have done stitching related. And now I'm going to talk about something else real quick, and maybe we'll wrap up the video. I went out and did some errands today. And one of those errands, I wanted to get some movies to have, because while I'm sitting and watching or stitching, I'll watch stuff, and sometimes I just like to have a movie. And I thought I'm going to go to the library and see what they have. I've got quite a few videos, DVDs, but it's kind of like, it'd be nice to have something different. So, and some of them I've been going down and watching things I haven't watched for a really long time, and I've kind of forgotten about what happens in the movie. So I did that. Now, we have a very small library in my town because my town is very small. It's only got 1,500 people in it, approximately. So the town that I work in at Hallmark is about 10-15 minutes away, and it's much bigger. It's either like, and I think I told somebody last night that it was 40,000. So it's either 30 or 40,000. I can't remember exactly, but it's a pretty good size town. We've got, you know, major grocery stores. We've got all kinds of stuff. And so they've got a little bit bigger library out there. It's not huge library like a major city kind of library, but it's, you know, it's got a couple floors in it and it's decent. So I was wandering around in there looking for things, and I found things I did not know they had. And I know not all libraries have this. So I was like, wow, this is great. So some of the things that they had that I wasn't expecting that you could check out and take home. Puzzles. Yeah, lots of puzzles. And puzzles that were like 300 pieces up to 2,000. I don't know if there's anything bigger than 2,000. Now, granted, I realize sometimes when things get taken home, pieces could potentially be lost. So, don't know. But still, instead of going out and buying a puzzle all the time, when, once you do it, what do you do with it? Yeah. They also had games, lots of games that you could rent, that you could borrow. That shocked me too. And the biggest shock was, and they didn't have a lot of these, so they were like kit type things or individual items that were in bags, almost like a project bag type of thing, that you could borrow and check out. So, and like I said, they didn't have a ton of them. They probably had around 20 or 25 different things, different little package things that you could check out. So, things like, and I don't know all of what is included, like some of the supplies you would have to have yourself, or something like making refrigerator magnets, jumper cables. You could check out jumper cables. The other thing is they had quite a few baking items. So like cookie cutters, a set of cookie cutters, or baking tins. So if you want to make a bundt cake, they had several different kinds of those kinds of things. That just, I couldn't believe it. Just like, what? This is a library, what? So I didn't get anything today because I do not, for one thing, I don't know if I have the time for it right now, but I don't like to bake all that stuff and have it around the house. So I've got to have a way to get rid of it because I don't need it in the house. It's not good for my stomach issues that I've been having and gut issues and all that. And so I really don't need it. Plus it's just, I'll eat it if it's here. So I will definitely be taking advantage of that one of these times, and maybe I'll be able to show you what I ended up doing. Thought there was something else that I was going to mention. Oh, next week, my birthday. Yep, it's coming up. So I don't always do stuff. Last year, I actually just didn't do anything. The previous, I think 3 years, I did it in a row. I went to the coast, stayed at the same place for all 3 years. I really like it, but it's very spendy, and I didn't necessarily want to do that quite that nice this time. So I am going to be going to the coast. I'm going to stay. So I'm actually going to do an Airbnb, which in this case, it's not going to be a house. It's actually a condo. It's kind of almost like a hotel with, a seating area, like a living room, and a small little kitchen in it. So it'll be a little bit nicer. I can cook my food and not have to eat out all the time and whatnot, that a hotel would force me to do because they wouldn't have any way to cook anything. So that'll be nice. That'll be fun. And I'm going to go for 2 nights. Normally I would just go for 1 night because it was so expensive. I couldn't afford to do more than that. But I'm going to do 2 nights. So that'll be fun. I know it's winter and you're not guaranteed that you're going to have good days at the coast. And that's okay. It's still fun to be at the coast and see, even if it's stormy. It's still fun. The biggest thing that I take into consideration, and a lot of times I will wait quite a while before I make any plans or reservations for something like this, is, am I going to be able to get to the coast from here? So the coast is only an hour away for us, but I do have to go over the coast range, mountain range. Thankfully, where I'm at and going over, the highest elevation point is like 800 feet. So it's a really nice pass through the mountains, and very easy. So as long as we're not getting any really bad weather, then I can make it over there. And I kind of looked ahead at the forecast, and there wasn't anything expected. So hopefully it won't be a problem getting down there. Some of the other things that may be coming up with work, when I got hired, it was hired as a seasonal. So they're like, it's through December 24th, and maybe fluctuating into the very end of December. But she asked me several times, the manager, so this is seasonal part-time and through the 24th. Yes, yes, I'm okay with that. I realize that. Now, that's not a guarantee that they won't keep you on, but they want to make very clear that if they don't keep you on, that you know that. So when I was trying to figure out if I was going to go for my birthday stuff, I went and looked at the calendar because people will write down days they can't work in the following, coming months. As well as they may have already started filling in the days of what people were going to work. And sure enough, they had started filling in stuff. And they didn't have me scheduled for the days I wanted to potentially be gone, even though I hadn't cemented those plans yet. But they did have me peppered in throughout January. So I will be staying on at Hallmark for the time being. I don't know if it's, going to be, for as long as I'm willing to stay there, or if it's later into the year. I also don't know what's going to happen with the stump grinding company because I still fill in for them once in a while. So if they do pick up in work, I still don't see me needing to go in there every day. I think maybe once or twice a week would help them out, and the other gal could handle the rest. And so maybe kind of combining those two. But we'll see. Who knows? Who knows? I've got a lot of vacation. I think I've mentioned this before. I've got a lot of vacation things planned for this coming year. So we're going to have to work around all those with the jobs as well. So yeah, there's been a lot going on recently, as well as stuff coming up and keeping myself busy. And I'm thinking I want to kind of show you some. I've been working on some of my planner pages. If you guys do any of those kind of things, I'm thinking of showing some of those that I've done kind of before I fill in for a lot of, I may have put in some things like when I'm working, but not other things I've got going on. So it doesn't really fill up the page yet. But I've gotten all of January done, which is really nice to get stuff done ahead of time. Because if you're working on designing the planner page for the very next week, you're already wanting to write some stuff down in there. Kind of hard when you don't have it finished. But I think I might show you some of those maybe in the next video or something like that. We'll just see how much is happening and if I've got things I want to fill in for the video for that. Plus I like to be able to show that kind of stuff, just show the art stuff that I've kind of been working on. Anyway, I think that's it. I don't think it was a terribly long video this time. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the time, so I'm not sure. But anyway, I hope you all had a very nice Christmas and a safe Christmas for any of you who are dealing with storms. And that, your New Year's is all that you hope it is going to be. A lot of people will say, don't worry about what's happened in the past, look forward, so that you don't need to think about the negative things that have happened. Yeah, it's fun to look at the positive things, maybe, that have been going on and be encouraged by those, but we don't know what's happening in the future. So look forward to that and look forward to the good things that are going to come. Let's not think about the negative parts of things. Anyway, I'm going to leave you there and we'll see you again in about a month. Bye.